Every day, all around us, thousands of tons of steel are locked in this huge, silent battle. They're built to fight back against crushing forces, intense vibrations, and just relentless wear and tear. These aren't just bricks.
So that's the big question, isn't it? What makes these structures so unbelievably tough? What is it about steel that makes it the go-to material for this job? And, maybe most importantly, what makes a railway bridge so different from the one you drive your car across every day?
Well, it all starts with this. A train is not a car, not even close. The forces it unleashes are in a totally different league, and that demands a level of strength and stiffness from the bridge that is just extraordinary.
Yeah, this slide really gets to the heart of it. We're talking about massive loads, all focused on a few tiny points, the wheels. Then you've got that dynamic impact, kind of like a violent punch every time a train passes. And you add millions of those hits over and over again, and you can see why these bridges absolutely cannot be allowed to bend or flex more than a tiny, tiny amount.
And just to give you a sense of scale, a single axle on one freight car can slam down with a load of 32 tons. Now imagine a train with 50 or 60 of those cars. The amount of force is just staggering, and the bridge has to soak it all up.
So how in the world do you build something to win that fight? Well, engineers use these really elegant geometric tricks to channel all that force safely down into the ground. Let's take a look at the three main ways they do it.
First up, we have the classic Truss bridge. You've probably seen them. Think of the famous Forth Bridge in Scotland. It's built with this web of triangles because, structurally, a triangle is an incredibly strong and stable shape. It's a brilliant design that directs forces along its members, which lets engineers build bridges over truly massive distances.
And this really gets down to the two basic forces at play here. You've got tension, which is a pulling or stretching force, and you've got compression, which is a pushing or squeezing force. A truss is basically a masterpiece of balancing those two forces against each other to create one super rigid and stable structure. Next, let's look at the real workhorse of the railway network, the plate girder. It's a simpler design, but it's super effective for those medium-length spans. It's got that big vertical plate in the middle, called the web, which handles the slicing forces. And then the plates on the top and bottom, the flanges, are what fight against the bridge's urge to bend under all that weight.
And finally, we have the majestic arch. Now, the Sydney Harbour Bridge is a road bridge, of course, but it shows the principle perfectly. An arch bridge takes that heavy vertical load from the train and just beautifully transforms it into a compression force, pushing it outwards and downwards into those massive foundations at its base.
But here's the twist. It turns out the sheer weight of the train isn't actually the biggest threat. No, the most dangerous enemy is the one you can't even see. It's the relentless, repetitive, and dynamic nature of the load itself. You see, a train isn't just a static weight. Engineers call it a live load, but it's not even a smooth live load. Tiny little imperfections in the track and wheels create this hammering effect, an impact load that actually makes the force even stronger. And then, when a train hits the brakes or accelerates, it creates these huge pushing and pulling forces along the length of the bridge. It's a seriously violent event. And all of that action, happening over and over, train after train, day after day, for decades, it all leads to the true hidden enemy of steel, fatigue.
This right here is the absolute key. A single train crossing is no problem. The stress is well within what the steel can handle. But what happens after millions of those safe crossings? Well, tiny, microscopic cracks can start to form, especially around critical spots like welds. Over time, those little cracks can grow, and that's when you get real trouble. It's exactly why inspections are so incredibly thorough.
So, when you've got this brutal environment of heavy loads, dynamic punches, and constant fatigue, why is steel the undisputed champion for the job?
Well, steel basically has a superpower, an amazing strength-to-weight ratio. It's unbelievably strong for how much it weighs. Plus, its behavior is incredibly predictable, which engineers, they love that. But critically, it has this thing called ductility, which means it will bend and stretch long before it actually breaks, giving you a clear warning sign if something's wrong. On top of all that, it's fast to build with, and it's 100% recyclable.
And when you bring these incredible design principles and this champion material together, you get something more than just infrastructure.
You get engineering that lasts. You get icons that have stood for more than a century and are now evolving for an even smarter future.
And this is a perfect example. Take a look at the Howrah Bridge. It was built back in 1943, and get this, it was put together entirely with rivets, no modern nuts and bolts. And after more than 80 years of constant service, it's still there, a monument to how unbelievably tough a well-designed steel bridge can be.
And the engineering just keeps getting better. High-speed rail, for instance, needs even stiffer bridges with less vibration. So now, new structures are being built with sensors baked right in to monitor their health in real time. And we have advanced coatings to protect them from the weather for even longer. The future is definitely smart steel. So when you really think about it, these amazing structures are so much more than just a way to get a train from point A to point B. They're the arteries of our commerce, the vital links that hold our supply chains together. They literally carry our economies on their backs.
So the next time you see a train thundering across a steel bridge, just stop for a second. You're not just looking at a hunk of metal. You're watching a dynamic, powerful machine engineered with incredible precision, silently winning an invisible century-long war against the laws of physics.
If you're ready to level up, like and share this video. Subscribe and hit the bell to join the future of efficiency. Howrah, your life optimized.